thanks to the Institute for organizing such a wonderful conference. And it's been good so far, and the best is yet to come. And thanks also to the people who helped me write this book. It was written in a sort of agile fashion, and many of the people in this room made contributions to it. So you are mentioned in the very long acknowledgement section. And thanks very much for that help. And this is a conference about business agility. And it's different from many of the conferences you may have been to about Agile and Scrum and Kanban and Lean, and just a couple of points that I think are important. One is that in a lot of those other conferences, there's a huge emphasis on having the right term. You have to use my term. You have to use Scrum or you have to use Kanban, and if you're not using my term, you are dead. You are lost. You may as well go away and die, because that's not... So hire me, hire my firm, and if you do that, you will go to heaven and live happily for all eternity. This conference is different. It's about the substance of this revolution in the way organizations are being run. And it's deep and it's profound, and we're going to be having people who will use different terminology and people who will say they've never heard of Agile, but in fact, when you look at what they're doing, it is in fact very Agile. Secondly, those other conferences are often very much internally focused about how we get the mechanisms and the organizational structure and the processes and everything right. This, in business agility, is very much externally focused. This is about delivering value to the customer, delivering more value to the customer, continuous innovation for the customer. And this external focus is driving those changes internally, and those internal changes are important because they enable that, but it is all about delivering value for the external customer. And I mean, one of the drivers for firms to become agile is, in this bigger sense of value for customers, is that they work away on their teams. They accelerate, they speed up, they get their product out faster, they have more outputs, and then they look around in the marketplace and someone has got there before them. Someone already has a better product that is more features and is there earlier and more intimate, more personalized, and so you suddenly realize we have to get to another level. We had to get to a level where we are delivering better than the competition. It's not just an internal discussion. And the third point is that your competitors are agile. It's not enough for you to be agile. You need to deal with the fact that your competitors are often providing, doing exactly the same thing in exactly the same area. And so one has to be thinking beyond existing products and thinking, how can we create new products where there is less or even no competition, and move into those areas. And we'll be having our speakers talk about some of that. I've written that Agile is eating the world. I think it's every day we find more and more evidence of that. The 5 biggest firms on the planet happen to be implementing these principles in a very dramatic way. Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, and Microsoft. And a recent survey of Deloitte showed that 94% of executives want to be agile. So there's certainly an aspiration there, although the same survey said that only 6% said that they are highly effective in being agile. So there's only an 88% gap to close there. So the need for this conference is kind of self-evident. And the other dramatic thing, that even though Agile is eating the world, it's still quite not well known outside the IT world. And one of the reasons for that is that business journals ignored this for quite a long time. The first really serious article about Agile in Harvard Business Review, which is kind of like the Vatican of management, first article was really in May 2016. And things are accelerating. The current issue, you may notice, has 3 articles on Agile, and there's another article coming next month. So they've suddenly woken up, hey, there is this funny thing going on in the world, and we need to find out about it. But it has generally been ignored by management journals. Strategy and Leadership is a notable exception. The Business Agility Institute is envisaging a journal themselves that would help expand the knowledge, dissemination of knowledge about Agile. The other thing I'd like to mention is that there is a lot of confusion out there, a lot of fake Agile, a lot of people talking about Agile but not actually doing it. And this was one of the motivations for creating the Learning Consortium, where firms could actually get together and in an open, confidential environment, share the problems, share the difficulties, share the challenges, but also share the successes without PR, without bullshitting each other. And this has been hugely helpful for the members, and we've tried to share the findings as a website where you can go and find out what we've learned in that. And I think if the journal at the Business Institute is going to establish, that would be a great help in this. They are also envisaging a possibility of awards for companies that have really made substantial progress in business agility. And if that can be arranged, they're still figuring out the details of it, but if that can be arranged in a way that doesn't get tangled up in commercialization and in fake Agile and Agile in name only, that would be a tremendous contribution to the progress of this huge revolution that's happening in the business world. And without further ado, I'm going to very briefly introduce the 3 speakers who will be talking about these and other issues. Firstly, Jimmy Allen is the co-author of a legendary book, The Founder's Mentality, and he'll be talking about how that is a crucial element to be actually succeeding in business. I won't talk much about, quote, Agile, unquote, but the substance of what he says will be very much directly involved in that. And then Jutta and John will be talking about how these different flavors of Agile and design thinking actually mash up together, and they have mashed it up together in something they've called Bossa Nova. And we look forward to dancing the Bossa Nova with John and Jutta. And then Ashok and Burkhardt will be talking how single artists, individual artists, can be melded together to form a beautiful ensemble, an orchestra.